So there's two answers to that question. So there's the in-world explanation and how I came up with them. The in-world explanation is that the Shardlings are human beings. They've been captured or coerced by the Deathless King. They get sent to a place called the Sea of Glass, which extends from his castle around Elderfor. The ritual is performed, which causes jagged blades of glass to jut through their flesh. Now, this is obviously very painful. It means they're in constant pain all the time. In order to lessen their pain, they have to be more and more loyal to the Deathless King, and he increases the amount of glass across their body compared to flesh. And the ultimate form is you getting turned into a solid glass statue. But of course, at that point, you lose all your humanity. The game reason why we created Shardlings was that the Deathless King needed an iconic foe that was specifically his. The Shardlings are quite grisly while being kind of instantly understandable. You can see that, you know, the Shardlings are going to be like the natural fate of the world. If the Deathless King takes over, you'll either become a skeleton or you'll become a hideous Shardling. So they're there to demonstrate the ruthlessness of the Deathless King and to sort of, you know, show what ghastly fate awaits. Exactly the same process. Human beings have dogs as worker animals. So the same kind of cultures that got converted to Shardlings also brought their animals. They're used for exactly the same purposes. They're tracking beasts, but in this case, of course, they track the enemies of the Deathless King. I think I just had this striking image where you would have these kind of poor animals and their, you know, kind of their legs have been replaced by kind of shards of glass and so forth. And no one likes to be cut by glass. It's horrid. And so it kind of, you know, just provokes that understandable reaction of horror. I did that for consistency. So the point is, I mean, the Shardlings are very associated with Domain of the Deathless King. And there aren't that many connections between Domain of the Deathless King and Dark Moon Rises, but they do take place in the same world. And the most logical way of demonstrating that is to show some Shardlings, you know, survived the Deathless King's, you know, eventual end. And having one of them as a player character seemed kind of very interesting. I like the idea of there being a rogue who is kind of constantly injuring people, you know, who she kind of, you know, moves away from and so forth. So it was for mostly aesthetic reasons, but it was also just to tie the two adventures together. Right, well, because times change. I mean, ultimately, if your master has been destroyed, you have to make a new life for yourself. Now, not all the Shardlings served willingly. Most would commit themselves to this idea of, I have to do more and more what the Deathless King says in order to ensure my transformation and free myself from pain. But that isn't what all Shardlings do. And there is, in fact, even in Domain of the Deathless King, there is a Shardling shaman who actually kind of quite likes the Deathless King, but sees that he's on a hiding to damn himself, his soul, and all of his followers with his kind of, you know, mad actions. And so, you know, even Shardlings turned against the Deathless King. Masala obviously is an open enough character that you can decide her motivations herself. But 25 years have passed since the War of the Deathless King. And she's now got a bigger problem. She's now got a dark moon on her shoulder. So she's both a Shardling, you know, an enemy of Corridon, and she has the dark moon. So yes, you know, she has to do something about that.